Today we're going to look at drawing rounded objects from a photo. For this you will need a 2B pencil, a 4B pencil, an eraser, a ruler and the picture of the three objects. So let's get started. So I'm going to look at my objects here and I'm going to start with the objects that's the furthest away, the one that's behind, and that happens to be the vase. So the first thing I'll do is I'll put my central axis line in, just a straight line running down the page, and then I decide where I want the top of my object to be and the bottom of the object. Now, and then I just look at its basic shapes, which in this case is like a teardrop shape with a rectangle on top with some nuances. So we'll start with the teardrop shape, judge how far down the object it is, and swoop your pencil. Use your central axis line to figure out if the left or the right are correct. You can also use a ruler to measure this to see if it's okay. And then you can fill in the rectangle on the top. Again, making sure that the left and the right are correct, and you can use a ruler for this if you want to measure it, or you can eyeball it. Now we can nuance that shape, so there's a slight inward curve, so we'll try to get that in. And the same on the right hand side, using your central axis line to judge if the left and the right are correct. Now I'm using a 4B pencil for this, but you will be using a 2B pencil starting off. Now because the top of that vase is at your eye level, the top of it's straight. Because remember from the previous videos, ellipses that are on your eye level are actually straight. Now the one on the bottom is below my eye level though, so I'm going to figure out how deep to do that ellipse, and I'm going to eyeball it. I'm going to make a mark on the top and the bottom of the ellipse, judge where that midway point is, get a ruler, and put a line to the outside edges of the object. And you're going to try to make sure that the left and right are correct. In this case here, I need to adjust the right hand side a little bit to make sure that those are the same size. Once you have your 4 points in, you join up those 4 points. You swoop your pencil around. Again, draw lightly to start with because you will be adjusting this. Okay, so I'm happy enough with the first object as it is. I might come back and nuance it later. So let's look at the middle object. And we're going to see where that jug lives in relation to the other objects. So if we look at the height of it, it overlaps that vase just a little bit, and it's about to the neck of the vase. And if I look at the bottom of it, it comes below that vase because it's in front of the vase. So drop it a little bit below. And I'm just judging by looking to see if I have it wide enough in comparison to the vase. So now I know that the jug lives within that space. So I find the halfway point and I put my central axis line in. I look at the basic shape, and it's kind of like a circle, maybe just a little flattened, but let's put in a circle, and we know that the circle lives within that space that you just drew. Again, use your central axis line to make sure the left and right are correct. Now, this ellipse is a little bit below my eye level, so I'm going to do the top and bottom of my ellipse, find the middle, draw a line out to the edges of my object, mark some points, and now I am making sure the left and right are correct, of course. And now I've got my 4 points. So I join those 4 points up using a rounded swooping action with my pencil. Make sure that you do not put points on your ellipses, they're rounded edges. Okay, I'm going to constantly look at my reference picture to see if I'm happy with that. Yeah, and that's okay for now. Now the peak of the jug, if you break it into its very simple shape, it's just a triangle. So, and you just see how far out it comes from the belly of the jug. And you just map that in lightly. Now once you've it mapped in, now you can come back in and make the slight little changes, the nuances that makes this jug its particular shape. I can just about see the inside of the peak of the jug, so I'm just indicating that. And just tidy up a little bit. Now the handle, first thing I do is to see how high up the jug the handle is, and I'm going to see how far out it comes in relation to the vase behind, and it comes roughly halfway, so I can bring it out to the central axis line of that vase and fill that in. And I'm looking at the negative space for the inside of the handle. see if I've got it correct. Now, the bottom of the jug, the ellipse is going to be deeper than the top because it's more below your eye level. So I'd mark the top and the bottom. I get my centre between those 2 points. I get my ruler and draw a straight line till it meets the object's edges, making sure the left and right are correct. Now I have my 4 points, and I join these up. Remember to draw nice and lightly and draw from your shoulder. Keep everything nice and loose at this stage. Okay, and I'm fairly happy with that. Now, this particular jug has a base to it, so I'm going to try to get that base in. Just rub out some excess lines so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm seeing how far down the ellipse of the base comes. It's about the same as what we've done before, maybe a teensy bit more because it is a tiny bit more below your eye level. And this time now I'm going to just drop the sides of the base. You're going to judge how high that base is. And then the points are on the bottom of those 2 little lines I'm just after drawing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you join those 4 lines up. And then you have your base. Now, I've decided I did my base just a little bit too big, so I'm just going to make it a tiny bit smaller. I'm just going to shave the end off it just a little bit and draw that ellipse back in. Now, the third object is the object that's in front. I'm going to see where it lives in the drawing. So it comes to a little less than halfway to the jug, and height-wise, it's about where the peak is if I drew a line going across. And then I judge how far it comes in relation to the vase, and it comes a little bit beyond the halfway line. So I'm going to use the central axis line of the vase to help me, and it comes a little bit beyond that. And if you look to see at the bottom of it, it actually comes in below the other 2 objects because it's in front. So I'm going to drop that line below. Okay, and then when I'm happy with the width at the top, what I'll do is I'll take a measurement to see how wide that is and find the halfway point. And that becomes my central axis line for this object. And now I'm going to use that central axis line to help me find that shape. Again, trying to make sure that my left and right are correct. And the top and the bottom, you can use your ruler for this, or you can eyeball it. Now, I know that that's the top of my ellipse, so I want to drop my ellipse. It's going to be wider than the top of the jug because the ellipse is below my eye line. So I put a mark in for where I think the bottom of the ellipse is going to be and find the halfway point between the top and the bottom and draw a line going across to find my 2 points on the edge. So now I'm going to join up these 4 points using a swooping action, and again making sure I keep the edges curved. Now I've decided when I look at my picture that that ellipse needs to be a bit wider, so I'm going to drop that bottom point a little bit, find the halfway point between those 2 points, draw a line going across to the edge of the object and mark those outside points, the right and the left, making sure the left and right are correct. And now I'm going to join up these 4 points. Yeah, and I'm happier with that ellipse. It looks more like what's in the photo in front of me. Now the bottom of this cup is below my eye level again, so the ellipse is going to be deeper again. So this time I'm going to go a little bit below the line that I've done already, the bottom of it. So I judge where the top and the bottom of my ellipse is going to be, find the halfway point, I move the line a little bit for that, and I join up the 4. So you can see that that ellipse is quite a bit deeper than the top of that cup because it is below the eye level. And I judge from my photo if I'm happy with that, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to start cleaning up my picture a little bit and come back and change anything that needs to be changed. And the neck of that vase needs to be just a little bit wider. Again, making sure that the ellipse in that particular case is straight because it's at your eye level. Now I'm rubbing out all my excess marks. So it's a good idea to start with the object that's in the back and work your way forward, because you can always rub out the lines afterwards. I'm just doing the inside rim of the jug here. All right, and I'm happy with that. So at this stage now you could shade it, but practice getting it to this stage. And happy drawing!